Welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. Thank you for joining me. If you could, hit that subscribe button down below and let's get right to it. Now, the conservatives are back at it again. Once again, they're trying to destroy the Affordable Care Act. You know, the Health Care Act that allowed 20 million Americans to obtain health care. 15 or so million of them for the first time in their families' histories. And has been saving lives since its inception. But of course, the GOP's been trying to kill it ever since it passed. Why? Because they refuse to help. There was a massive problem with the healthcare system, still is, and the Republicans refused to do anything to help President Barack Obama get it through. They tried every lie in the book. And now they're at it again. Today in Louisiana, down in New Orleans, an appeal at the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals against the ACA will take place. A judge in Texas in 2018 ruled the entire law unconstitutional. Why? Because he felt like it. There was really no basis, from what I have read, from different legal experts that I have read, was there really a legal reason for why it was shot down. So this judge, basically an activist judge, as you have on the liberal side sometimes as well, decided he didn't like the law, so the law was shut down. Now the law was never, that ruling was never put into place as it was into appeals, and now it has made its way to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Now you would think that this was all set, it'd be said and done because the Justice Department, they're going to defend the law. But no, last year Donald Trump said no. I don't want you defending the ACA. We want you to destroy the ACA. So, a number of states, after that tax law passed, decided they would file suit. Because in the tax bill that passed in late 2017, they stripped out the penalty portion of the mandate. And because of that, some states' attorneys general, including here in Texas, decided that that was a reason to abolish the entire law. Kick 20 million Americans, including friends of mine, who need their health care, who cannot get Medicaid, and kick them off of the ACA. The only law keeping them alive. The only reason they can have health care because of their pre-existing condition. I have a friend of mine I went to school with who has a heart condition, who one of the main reasons that she is alive today is because of the Affordable Care Act. The reason she is alive today and not in massive debt for the rest of her life is because of having health care through the ACA. And now you have this son of a bitch trying to steal it again? I gave Donald Trump 6 months to prove to me he wasn't the scummy piece of crap that I have seen him to be in the last 2 years. I gave him 6 months from the day he took office. And during that 6-month time, from January to June, he tried 3 times to abolish the ACA and replace it with nothing. To literally replace it with nothing. And then, during all that time as well, trying to take Medicaid away from those of us that are disabled who need it. And make it difficult for states to provide buy-in programs for Medicaid, which people I live around rely on. People don't seem to understand. You have to work to get the ACA. You have to make some kind of taxable income to get ACA help. If you make under $10,000 a year in taxable income, guess what? You're shit out of luck. You're not getting ACA subsidies. You have to work to be able to get on the ACA. Now, is the ACA perfect? No. Are there some things we could do to make it better? Yes. If Republicans and Democrats would get off their ass and work together? Yes. There are ways we could make the ACA even better without having to destroy the private insurance industry. Right now, I am on the fence for Medicare for all. I'm not exactly sure how it would work, how we'd be able to make it work. And I have not been on the side of destroying private health care. I believe that should be an option for anybody that wants it. But I guarantee you, if this appeals court allows the lower court ruling to stand, and the Supreme Court allows that lower court ruling to stand, I will then have no choice but to be 100% Medicare for all, and 100% against Republicans for the rest of my life. I'm already to the point that I'll never vote for one for a federal office again. Ever in my life. Because of what they have done. Trying to starve children by cutting off their parents' Medicaid because their parents might be douchebags and decide they want to smoke pot. Cutting funding to school lunch programs in places. Trying to take people's health care away, where if they don't have it, they die. Do you not understand the life and death situation that you are putting people in? I have friends right now in a panic because they don't know what to do. They have future health issues that are going to come to light as they get older. And they're not going to be able to have health care? What kind of bullshit are we talking about here? This is America. We don't just let our neighbors die. And you say, well, they can just go to the ER. No, they can't just go to the ER. You can't just go to the ER and have cancer treatment. You can't just go to the ER and have heart surgery. If you think it's that easy, you live like that. But I refuse to sit here silently and watch my friends die because some conservative assholes think it's okay for people to die just because they don't have the same amount of money as you do. Now, we don't know what's going to come of this case at the appeals court at the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. But it's not looking good. The Justice Department says that it's not likely that their side wins. That the Democrats that are defending the bill or defending the law have the standing. That they are the ones that are likely to win. But here's the problem. It's a three-judge panel there at the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals seeing this case. All of them are Republican appointed. 2 of them by George W. Bush. And 1 by Donald J. Trump. So guess what? It's not likely to get past that. They're not likely to strike down that lower court ruling. Unless the 2 people put in there by George W. Bush have some compassion. If they have 1 ounce of compassionate conservative left in them, it's the only way they will strike down that lower court ruling. And on to the Supreme Court it will go if they don't. Now, 5 of the 6 people that voted in favor of keeping the ACA together back in 2012, 5 of those 6 people from the 6-3 ruling are still there. including John Roberts, Ginsburg, and the others. I don't remember all their names at this moment. But 5 of them are still there. Now, the court is far more conservative than it used to be. With the addition of Kavanaugh, who knows? But the fact is, right now, 5 of the 6 judges that voted in favor of saving the ACA in 2012 on the Supreme Court are still there, and it could very well come down to a 5-4 ruling, unless another conservative on the court decides to join John Roberts. But you never know if John Roberts could change his mind. But people shouldn't have to live like this. We shouldn't have to live under the threat of, is their health care going to be denied because the Supreme Court or some appeals court is going to deny their claim. That's not how this should work. The law was passed. The law was found constitutional in 2012 and again after that. Let people have health care. It's actually saving the government money. It's saving taxpayer money. And like I said, there are things we can fix. There are things we can make better. Because if we get together, we come together as Americans, there's nothing we can't do. But to sit here, year in and year out, since 2010, I think it was when it got signed into law, listening to people trying to find ways to abolish it instead of make it better, trying to rip healthcare from 20 million Americans, allowing some small businesses to not have to provide these healthcare benefits because some of the small businesses couldn't afford to. I don't understand where this is coming from. Because there are a lot of things we could do to make it better. But I don't understand the hatred that you have to have in your heart to sit there and allow people to die from not having health care. I've known people who died waiting to get health care, waiting to get on Texas Medicaid, waiting to get into the Texas Medicaid buy-in program. I know somebody that died just after getting approved where I live. He was a fun guy. And we lost him because he wasn't able to go to the doctor as much as he needed to. Wasn't able to have the things done he needed done. And it breaks my heart when I flip onto Facebook and I see somebody I went to high school with panicked because she may lose her health care. This isn't somebody I was ever all that close to. We weren't the best of friends, but I knew her. You know, I've known her but basically my entire life. And to know that she's having to panic over this and be concerned constantly that her condition can't be taken care of because some asshole wants to get rid of the ACA. It's maddening. It's heartbreaking. Striking down this law will be catastrophic to families across this country. Cancer patients that have ACA policies will immediately, overnight, no longer have health care. That means they don't get their treatments. People like myself who happen to, like myself, that have the muscular dystrophy like I do, that happen to be on one of those programs. I happen to be on Medicaid. But it happens if anyone happens to be on the ACA and they're like me, and they have a compromised immune system because of their muscular dystrophy, and say this gets struck down, and then the Supreme Court strikes it down and says no more ACA, and they go to get that flu shot and they say sorry, $45 please, and they don't have it. 2 weeks later, the flu season starts. They catch the flu and they die. They catch a case of bronchitis that turns into pneumonia because they couldn't go to the doctor, and they die. Somebody with a heart condition can't get the treatment they need, so they die. A child has leukemia, and a parents, for whatever reason, can't get them to St. Jude. Their child dies. At least most of the children will be safe because of people like St. Jude. Because many of them won't be that lucky. Not all of them can get there. But at least for children, there's that option. But for adults, there's not that option. For adults, they just die. Think of that. Keep that in mind. When you sit here talking about wanting to strip 20 million people's health care away, remember that. Keep it in mind. That something as simple as a cold for some people could be their death if they're not able to get treatment. Think of that. For myself, for example, a sinus infection can become bronchitis, can become pneumonia, and can kill me, all within a month, if not sooner. There are other people out there that are even worse shape than me, because I have Medicaid. Sorry, I'm just trying to read something here. But people don't care about that. They only care about what they want. They only care about themselves. They're like, well, these other people don't work as hard as me. They don't deserve health care. Everybody deserves to live. I'm sorry. That's just how I see it. You don't have to agree with me. You can disagree with me. Let me know in the comments. But I believe the ACA should stay. I believe the ACA should pass this appeals court. I believe the appeals court should strike down the lower court ruling. And if it goes to the Supreme Court from there, I believe the Supreme Court should again strike down the lower court ruling. But it should end. The ACA is the law of the land and should remain the law of the land. It should be improved, not ended. I know this video is longer than my normal videos, and I'm sorry for that. But hopefully somebody got something out of it. But we cannot allow this to happen. We've got to be ready to be right there on the phone, calling our congressman. The moment that if the Supreme Court, if it gets up to the Supreme Court, we've got to be ready right there to start calling our congressman. The moment the Supreme Court, if it gets that far, if it has to go that far, if the Supreme Court, for whatever reason, overturns ACA, we've got to be there calling our congressman to fix it immediately and demand Medicare for all. As well, because of the potential deaths of 20 million Americans, I will demand the impeachment of one Donald J. Trump. This has been The Big Rant Show. I've been your host, Jacob Keck. I'll see you down the road. Goodbye.